Hello and welcome to another episode of the Reseller Information. Guys, we're on episode 33. We're rolling right along here. And man, we've got an exciting show for you today. We're going to be talking about some skills that will help you become a better. One of the things when you talk about being a better reseller is research. You got to have research. So we're actually going to show you a couple great tools today about how to research items and how to find things, what actual comps are, even going back past what eBay lists. So these guys are going to be talking about that. We also have Leroy's going to be sharing another tip of how to increase your sales by either lotting up or not lotting. So you won't want to miss that. Make sure you stick around for that. Do want to make recognition, obviously, of the guys hanging out with me today. As always, we do have Blood, Sweat, and Sell Leroy with us in the building, Cernochs connection. Cernoch for being here as always, and Tim over the years hanging out with us today and bringing some knowledge. I do want to share a couple comments that we got off of last week's show and more. We had other comments come in. We did get a comment in from Facebook, and we're going to answer some of those questions today via the Facebook group. But we had a Cat Whisperer come in and say, hey, forget trash to cash. I sell more while listening to this channel. What's the name of this channel? Joking. Love the content. Carries fun for sure. We do appreciate Cat Whisperer for coming over here. Lisette, as always, man, we appreciate you for being here. New England Betty Boop here on YouTube says, hello, fellas. Have some episodes to catch up on, but I have to watch one of my favorite people. I'm not sure who she's talking about. I know she's met me, so me and Leroy, we're out again. But we do thank Lisette for honestly, Garage Sale Nation, a little hater. I'm not sure, but I guess this is directed at you, Carrie. Like, I don't know. Said, who is this that's coming from Garage Sale Nation? I don't know. Maybe there was some beef between the two channels, but anyway, we're here to stand as Switzerland. We're a neutral party. So Kristen Blazengame had a comment, said, hey guys, I'm headed to do my first pickup. So that's great. And then Kayla Bricks actually said, congrats, I picked up my first one Monday. Can't wait for the next one. So see, people are learning. People are earning. Stick around. We'll dive right into the show today. Let's go with one. Get things moved around here.
Hey, yeah. Okay, so what was if you want to read there was a Facebook post about looking some stuff up. What did it say? Because I'm ready. My Google fingers are ready.
So we had on the Facebook group, guys, if you're not a part of the Reseller Information Facebook group, we do have a questionnaire chat in there. So feel free to drop some comments in there. We had a question come in from Mary Lee. Mary Lee said that she found us because watching Commonwealth Picker, and at first for fun, but then she actually sold a PS4, and now she's hooked. She got hooked into the reseller community. She said, so I need some help. I went to a yard sale and randomly bought a box of stuffed animals. I saw a couple of little Care Bears and some other weird bears. I had my grandkids with me and didn't really take time to look through it. I was distracted. I ended up with 15 liquid blue Grateful Dead bears, and only 2 of them are without. And someone guide me to know the value. Some are not any place, and I can't find them on eBay active or sold. She says she's also not very good on computers, so anything we could do to help her out would be great. So Mary Lee, this is for you.
All right,
Mary Lee. Comment for you to come through.
All right, we're gonna look at my eBay shop. Okay, and there's a few ways you can look. So let's just type in, Grateful Dead. I'm gonna show a few different ways. Now, there's 718 listings, okay? So people got all shapes and colors and stuff like that. Now, I will tell you the ones that you cannot find, I would Google image them. So take a picture of them, drop it into Google Image to see if something comes up. But there's a bunch. You can always tried and true method. You can go to advanced and you go to sold item right here. Click that sold items, completed items, and hit cert. Okay, and you can see the sold items there. 328. That's not bad. That's a pretty good sell through. You can kind of see, So it looks like they're like 15, 20 bucks. Some people that do an auction may get lower. You know what I'm saying? But so you got to think about like, hey, do I want to sell it here? Do I want to put it in a lot? How do I want to do this? So let's take a look at another way to do it as well. And that's going to be on your main page where you have your seller hub. If you come over here to research, Terra product research right here. Okay. Now you can type in all your keywords right here. We're going to liquid blue, Grateful Dead, bear plush. And we're going here and hit research. Now you can do last 30 days, last 6 months, last year, last years. Let's, you know what, since the solds only go back 90 days, let's go back an entire year, okay, and research. You will see, you'll have all your graphs, you'll have all your stuff, and you will see kind of what they're selling at. So, even if you can't find that certain bear, you might come to Terapeak and look up an entire year back, and it may show you may have something rare. And also, if you're interested in selling a lot, you can look at that too. So say you had 15 in the lot, this one jumps out at me right here, 400 for 55 of them, so you can always type in back up here. You can put, we can do plush lot and just narrow it down from there. And then we can kind of see, look, so a lot of 9 sold for 55, a lot of 12 sold for 7, so it just kind of depends on what you do. I would definitely do the research in this, but using Terapeak, you can get some great information, especially I use Terapeak when I can't find something that I know has some value. Now, here's the thing that I do too. If I know it has a value, say like a hat or a vintage, and I can't find it on eBay, I'll go to Terapeak sometime and I'll say, okay, hey, this shirt sold a year ago at this price. Well, guess what? Just because it sold at that price a year ago doesn't mean I'm going to match that price. You know what I'm saying? If there's not one on eBay, the price is going up. So always remember that. If you can't find it on eBay or Poshmark or Mercari, by using all your searching methods, but you can find solds from a year ago or even years ago, or like even 5 years ago. Now that's something eBay Therapy can't do, but there's another site that we'll get to a little bit later that can help you with that. You got to think about, well, if I'm the only one that has, let me maybe raise my price on it because it's hard to find. No one else has that. So I'm the only one that has that. So that's how you can use Terapeak. I hopefully that really helps. It does, average sold price, the range and all that thing. Did people include, free shipping or not, or, whatever. So I think this is a tool that a lot of people don't use, and eBay is always enhancing this feature on eBay. So
yeah, it used to not go back that far. It used to only go like 90 days. You can also search each column, like if you needed to look at the highest to lowest or the date sold, or
you can come over here to the filters and do all that stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. You can filter out this was an auction. Say you don't want auctions because I feel like auctions but let's just say just pick best offer accepted and fixed price. Those are things that you can do too down here. So there's all different types of things that you can do with Terapeak. So definitely, if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out, and it may help you in your business. It'll help you with your eBay. So that's Terapeak. That's just a little 101 in a nutshell. But I would say, with Terapeak, there's nothing you can mess up with your list. So just go in there and dive in, experiment, put in different things, and get yourself antiquated with this tool. So it's just another tool that you can have in your arsenal.
Awesome. So when we talk about tools that can help you in your reselling business, this is obviously an item that is already available to you. eBay, it's pulling eBay history, but Tim actually sells things a lot more unique than most of them, to be honest. He's always finding the vintage gold. He's dealing in glassware. He's dealing in other things that sometimes like you can't find it. Or sometimes when you Google image that thing, you know what it's going to say? It's going to say it's on this site. And Tim's going to talk a little bit more about this particular site and what that is and how do you access it. So I know for me, Tim is a wealth of knowledge in himself, and he's got books and all kinds of other things. But this is something that may help you guys if you're finding that vintage, that antique, you need a deeper history. Here's your guy right here, Tim.
All right. So So we are going to do a quick little deep dive into world of Worth. So WorthPoint is a service that you could pay for. Well, you have to pay for if you want to use it. That is the one downside, but we're working on a little affiliate sort of situation to hope you guys a little discount code. Personally, it's worth it for me because of the items that I sell. I use WorthPoint every single WorthPoint pulls data from eBay and other online auction houses. So it's really helpful for finding out value on items that are not really found on the eBay or Terapeak. But the thing is that WorthPoint is actually useful for way more than just finding price. I'm going to go over a little bit of those abilities and options that will help you when deciding if the WorthPoint is something that you might be able to use selling business. But it's very interesting. It's also helpful for identifying items. Because a lot of times I might know something is something, but I can't figure out the exact model, the exact maker, the color code. So WorthPoint can be useful in that aspect as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull up WorthPoint really quick for everyone. Oh, not how I want it. Why is it sharing the screen like
I fixed it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, so here we are on WorthPoint. As you can see, you have a bunch of different items up here. We're gonna go with a lot of that throughout a little deep dive really fast. But it is very useful as far as a research tool goes. So the general thing that people use WorthPoint for is going to be the price guide. You can also this is also available on your phone, so I use it on my phone a lot when I'm out in the wild. You can search by categories if you really want to, stuff like that, or you can just kind of put in a general search term. What are we're gonna put in liquid blue teddy bear?
Liquid blue Grateful Dead bear plush. That's what I did.
Yeah.
As you can see, it has pulled up 7,623 matching item. My computer's obviously being a little bit slow here. Do not know why. If I can but you'll get the idea here very shortly. Basically, it is going to give you the title of the listing. It's going to give you the price that it's sold for. It's going to give you the date that it's sold for and the place that it's sold on. You can also categorize this by most recent. You can do oldest, high to low, low to high. So I always have fun when I'm on WorthPoint, and I always like the highest price item. As you can see here, somebody sold 330 Grateful Dead plush bears with tags for $3,500, and that was in 2021. Now, one of the best things about WorthPoint is the amount of time that it goes back. You can see here the second highest sold that they have in this particular search is for almost $1,300, and it sold in September 5th of 2013. So it goes way back, which it is helpful when you have a very rare item. So do you have a item that might be very rare? You look it up on eBay, you can't find anything. You look it up on Terapeak, you can't find it. If you go to WorthPoint, you have a lot larger pool of data to draw. Makes it very useful. Obviously, like Cernoch was talking about, the market fluctuations are going to be a little bit different, but when you're looking up something that's super rare and there hasn't been one sold or there isn't one listed in X amount of time, you kind of still can set the market how you want. So it's very interesting. You have a little bit of other tools here. You can.
What is that bear that sold for $12.99? Like which one is that? Dude,
So
I'm about to be
the bean bear.
Only 160 made.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so it basically copies the exact list for the eBay listing. So it has your description. Sometimes you won't get all the pictures. Now that could be due to the actual original listing or just something that kind of happens when it gets transferred over in WorthPoint. Now, what's really interesting is, now this is probably not the best thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. So there are times when I sell an item and I can't necessarily find the item. And so I get a little freaked out and I'm like, did I sell this item already? So like say I sold something on Etsy and I'm like, dang, I might have sold eBay or something like that. I can copy the title listing put it in the search bar, and if my item comes up, I know that I already sold it on eBay. So I mean, I hate it happens to the best of us. So I mean, I think that that's also a very useful tool. But like I said, there's so much that you can use on here as far as. So we're gonna go over to the next tab, which is like mark. You can search different marks. Like, so say you find something and you don't know what the mark is, you can just type in like kind of like a keyword, or kind of describing what the mark on the item is, and then you can search that, and then it'll break it down into categories. So I typed in the word crown. So these are all the different crown markings that have to do with metals. You can see you have them on ceramics and all different types of different categories, jewelry, glass, and then that'll help you kind of identify a certain company. So like this crown right here belonged to the company Crown Pottery and Crown Potter. So it's a very helpful tool. I think this is the one thing that people don't really realize the value of WorthPoint is. It's not just for looking up prices. It's a legitimate research. Another cool thing that you can do is they have a library. So I can look up a book. Say I want to look up a book on depression glass. It'll bring up depression glass book. So then kind of go in here. And then you can go down here to the table of content. You can go to content, and it should pull up like a PDF reading file, so that I can literally like read through the book and without having.
Wow.
So it's very, very, very useful. You guys can see right here, I'm basically scrolling pages in a depression glass. So a lot of people, once again, a lot of people just don't, I think, understand how many tools you have at your disposal when using Worth. They also have a dictionary. You can find auctions, upcoming auctions in your areas. You can find, they have articles, all different types of stuff over here, treasure hunts and events. And I'm working on this affiliate program. And the vault is a new thing. I haven't really dove too much in, but I guess it's kind of like eBay vault sort of situation where you can like add like an item, and then you can have upload tag. And I guess what this will do is kind of like help you as far as organizing your items, or like, so say like you look something up at one point and you totally, you find something else in the wild maybe like 6 months later, and you're like, damn, I know I've seen this before. You can go back to your vault and you can look at, your saved markings and stuff like that. Tons and tons and tons of tools that are available to WorthPoint. And once again, you can use this on your computer. You can use it on your phone. Very, very useful item. And then like I said, if you want to use it for like trying to find a maker's an item, like, so say you have like a green hobnail pitcher, and that's all you know that it is. You just know that it's a green pitcher. You know that it's got hobnails. You can type that in here, and then obviously I'm sort of high to low. You want to make sure you go to best match, and now you're gonna see all these different hobnail pitchers. So now you can kind of like get an idea. Obviously, you don't want to just find your pitcher and then just run with that title and description, but it's a starting step. So like, okay, so now you might know that this picture might be hobnail, might be Fenton. So then you change your search word to Fenton green hobnail pitch. Okay, so now you kind of like are moving on. Okay, so now you might be able to find, okay, it's a syrup pitcher. So now like I kind of know that it's a syrup pitcher. So it helps you move along through the process of identifying an item. That's something that you can use it for as well. So I try to get as much bang for my buck out of my subscription monthly, but I totally think it's worth it, especially if you sell a wide variety of items, especially if you're getting into like collectibles, because a lot of times it's just very difficult to find some of these items, whether it be identifying them or pricing them out. That is the rundown on Worth.
For me, I look at that stuff, and originally when I first saw WorthPoint, I thought it was just pretty much antiques, like that's all it was about. But I know Tim sells everything like I do, and obviously,
oh yeah, you can find sports cards on there. You can find T-shirts, hats. Hats is another good WorthPoint is really good for, because Cernoch will tell you there's tons of times where we find hats where they're one of a kinds a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but there are examples of those hats that have been sold before, and a lot of times it's helped me like not shoot myself in the foot by underpriced.
Yeah.
So it's definitely can be used on all different items, not just antiques and stuff.
That's what I think is a common misconception is people do when you say WorthPoint, it's like, oh, I don't sell antique. It's
Yeah.
like, no, any tool that you can use to help you make more. It is. Does that mean everybody? If you're going to sell mall brand clothing, no, absolutely do not get help you. But if you're selling anything collectible, which most of us are, whether it be retro, whether it be, rare items, or whether it be like even that, like those liquid blue, who knew there's one of those bears that's crazy expensive like that? I mean, this lady, Mary Lee, she could have that very bear and without us showing her where it's at, she'd be out. So, hey, next up, we're going to dive into a reseller hack that we know and we learned from the best, Mr. Blood, Sweat, and Soul.
Leroy, you're muted.
We couldn't have an episode of that, dude. One of us is going to do it.
That was a mic check, guys. That was a mic check. So what's going on, guys? So normally you guys know that I sell a lot of. I also sell hardware. And just really whatever I find in the hardware category. Sometimes, one item it's just really not worth selling for $5. But I'll go somewhere and I'll buy a bucket. There's 200 of those items that are worth $5. Well, you do the math. Now it gets a little interesting on putting stuff into lots, or taking stuff out of lots. So I'm just going to go into some of my eBay, just give you guys an idea of why I did certain things and what things right now I would change because they haven't sold for a while. So I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, so what I did, guys, was I put you in my I put it all in lots. So these are all my items that are lots. Could you put it back to the other one, please? So as we scroll down, you'll see like I'll have just like lug nuts or certain items that, again, I have. So if we look, just say sockets, okay? I'll get Craftsman sockets, and I'm not going to sit there and try to make 5 sets. What I'm doing is I'm going to say, okay, I have 10 of these. I have 10 of them, and I don't know what sizes, but these 5 here have different sizes, and they're all the same. They all look like they're the same series, so I'll put them in a lot. So then, as like I got into some Christmas stuff. Again, you guys know about the wrapping paper, but there was also some ribbon and stuff, and there was like 4 or 5 totes, and I was like, okay, well, let me see how many fit priority flat rate box. Large, and that's how I did mine. So people say, well, how many put into a lot? Well, start thinking about shipping as well. You start thinking, okay, well, if I stay under a pound, then what happens is I'll be under the $6 in the shipping. So they're not going to want to pay $9 for this. So that's also a technique that I use. With some of these items, we can scroll down. There are some nails here. Sorry if I'm going fast, guys. So there's these hooks right here. So all swivel hooks and stuff. That's one of the items that I did per weight. So I said, okay, 19 of them are 15 ounces. So 19 of them are 15 ounces, and then I figured it out that way. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll also figure out. I'll figure out like, okay, so how much do I want for one? So if I want $4 for one, I'll times the $4 times, a fair amount that's selling on eBay. So if I go into certain category, I'll see that there are certain items that in this category, they're selling a lot of lots at $20, $25. Well, guess what? I'm going to make my lots a little bit bigger than theirs, but stay at that $20, $25. So they're going to think they're getting a deal. I'm just getting rid of stuff. Right here, there's gray wire outside PVC piping, 90 degrees. On that aspect, I was like, okay, so how should I do this one? Well, that was one of those box situations where this is the box that I had, and this is how many I can fit in the box. So that's what the lots. You'll see there's another one below it. That was again a box situation. This the guys were with me when we were up in Virginia, and I grabbed the whole drawer pull. And again, I just attention to whatever the market was. I didn't spend too much, but I paid attention to the market to see, okay, people normally want one or two or three, but if I can sell one, two, or three, if I can sell six of, and I'm happy with the 1, 2, 3 price, then why wouldn't I do that? You know what I mean? If I see six of them selling for $3 a piece, or sorry, three of them selling for $3, why don't I put six and make them happy, and it looks like they're getting a deal, but I'm rid of the stuff.
Yeah, and you're probably saving time too, because you don't have to do 2 listings or multiple listings for all those pools doing one listing by bundle all up.
Yeah, look at the next set of fittings. See how there's the mixed lot of brass fittings, 11 pieces. That's exactly what you're talking about. That's exactly what I was. I kept that same listing. The pictures are all different, but all the written stuff pretty much. Sometimes I'll flop some stuff around, but it's all the same. And that's exactly, Tim, what I did. And I kept the price all the same. I noticed that some of the fittings, people don't want 50 fittings. They really only need 8 of them. And you know, I'm okay with $13 for 11 fittings. My average sale price is $40. And if you guys look at my numbers, they're really low. Like a lot of my prices are low, but my sale price is still up there. Higher item.
Oh, big shout out to Leroy, by the way, that over the 1,000 listing
1K
total
club.
there.
Yeah,
1,020 listings right now. Shout out to Leroy.
Yeah,
He was working hard to get to that number.
I was pushing it, and I was selling more than I wanted to stay at that. But you know, this guy's for me is what keeps me to have a job. You go into the 52 fittings. There's 52 PFC fittings that are new. And if you look, that's $60. 62. I sell that kind of stuff a lot because people don't want to go to Home Depot and spend $8 for 2.
Yeah.
So and they'll make up projects. Like, guys, you got to understand, if you're giving them a deal, they're gonna make a way more. They'll make a way. They don't want to spend. They don't want to spend more, but if they get more quantity is what I'm trying to say. So maybe the guy only needs 20 of these pipes. Guess what? He's gonna make a way to think in his head that 52 is better. You know, and it's really not, like, in my eyes. But you know, these, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take the lots, make them smaller. So there's 52. This one here. Okay, so you see how I have this one now.
Hey, that's a bargain. That's a bargain.
Right.
Now, but here's the flip side to it, guys. So for instance, I have, you say 1, 4, 5 different pipes there. Now, it's only been on for about a couple of weeks. In about 6 months, if those don't sell like this, I will take all the T's. That will be a lot. I will take all the connectors, the adapters, the 90s and the 45s, and I'll put them in a separate lot. Now, well, why would I do that? First of all, you're going to go up on the price of the item, selling less items. Second of all, you go away on a trip. I'm going away on a trip this week, and what I might need to get some lots up quick. Well, if I just take a couple of those pitches, I can split that lot up, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lists out of that one listing that didn't sell great in that lot. But like I said, somebody want 52, but somebody may want just 4 or 5 elbows or 4 or 5 T's. Those T's alone are about $6. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So do you, when you're taking the picture of these lots, like, I see off to the side that you have put pictures of each individual, what you have, right? So you could even crop that out and pull out, you know, the T's and say, okay, I've got, you know, however many of those and however many of that.
Exactly how it
is. That's good.
That's exactly. That main picture, I can take this, and this is something we'll go into, and I know Cernoch, can help us with this, and it has nothing to do with AI. I've learned this a long time ago, where you can actually take this, your best picture got to be your first. You could take this one picture and make it into 6 pitches. It's tricky. You guys are new. If you're watching this, some of you guys are experienced, but you can literally take this one picture, cut it up into 6 or 7 pitches off of that one picture right here.
Cropping's your friend.
Cropping is your friend. Yeah, I learned that from it wasn't any of you guys. A guy that I had met that did eBay, and he was telling me, because I told it was back in the day. You have a space issue phone, so if you have a bunch of stuff listed, you could have a memory. And I had space issues because I had pictures. So he said you take one picture and you just crop the daylights out of it. So that's exactly what Eric is saying. Like if I'm at the airport and I want to make this into 6 lots, I literally.
It's very interesting when you talk about putting it together, taking it apart. Like, or you could, if you wanted to do extra work, like you could like do smaller lots in the sense of I've got a T, I've got a 2L, like because you're thinking about what things go together.
Yeah. So, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, guys, of, it looks like it's a lot of work, but once I lay them all out and lay everything out, it's really not that bad. You want it to look good. They want to be able to count. This picture here, they cannot complain. I mean, I took some time. It probably took me 2, but they can literally count the wash, count the bolts. They can see that this one's bigger, this one's a different size. You want to make sure that they can see. It's not really, I'm not talking about pictures right now, but you do want to make sure, especially when you're doing lots, that they can identify different item that is in that lot. So, but that's pretty much what I have, guys. Unless you guys on the panel have any questions about anything.
I just think it's interesting because we all sell stuff that we can lot up for a lot of those that Leroy talked about. I know that with me, a lot of times I thought it was really interesting about the shipping aspect that Leroy talked about too, because for example, like a Pyrex set, like sometimes it makes sense to sell the Pyrex as one set, right? Because there's 4 bowls, it's one listing, but it's a pain in the butt to ship, and it can cost a little bit more money for the buyer. And then sometimes when it comes to stuff that people collect, they might already have 2 of the bowls. So then you get a message and it's like, oh, well, I only need these 2 bowls. Can you break it down for like, there's always those sort of aspects that you kind of put in your mind when you're thinking about, should I bundle or should I not? Should I make a lot or should I not? And I think with sports cards, a lot of times it's like, like, is somebody really going to pay the shipping to get $1 card? Why don't I lot it up with 4 other cards and
from the same team?
Exactly. Same team or same player, or maybe even the same exact card. I know with hats, I'm pretty sure Eric and Cernoch and I have all sold a lot of hats at one point, where you're just like, these hats are not really worth it for me to take the time to like individually clean, steam, photograph, and list. Maybe I could just sell them all as a lot to either a reseller or somebody who collects hats. So it's very interesting how it can be applied, everything that Leroy talked about, to multiple different categories of reselling. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, that whenever one of us is talking about something that seems like it's just a niche, it's really not. It's actually stuff that can be applied throughout different categories of reselling. So I just kind of want to reiterate that fact to people that are listening and watching. Actually, big shout out to Eric, who has the Reselling Information Network available on listening podcast platforms. Spotify. Correct? Are we on Spotify now?
Yeah, Spotify. I have to get up a few more episodes, then we can move to Apple and all the rest of it. So listen to us on Spotify. Give us a little rating over there.
Nice.
So we can get things moving on the audio only.
Yeah. Like you were talking about, like clothing too. Yeah, like clothing lots. Like, listen, you may find, if you find 6 Polo Ralph Lauren cotton, small pony shirts, all the same size, that instead of just doing them like each individually, do a lot of 6 so you can up the price, you know what I'm saying? And that's all one shipping. You can already pre-pack it in a poly bag or a box and put it away. So when that comes, when that sale comes in, you slap the label on it and you ship it out. I've done that on occasion where, you find, I'll tell you this, if you ever find certain jeans, I had fire resistant jeans in the same size, man, I lotted those up. There's people looking for like, workwear that instead of buying one, they're like, oh, I could have 4 pairs, all my same size. Great. Boom. Done.
Yep.
So,
and I am not telling you guys to do this. So please don't follow what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to make a point.
Do everything Leroy.
When I used to go yard selling with my daughter when she was a baby, she had to come with me. guy had them on the weekends. So I would go to yard sales and people try to give you baby clothes. And, we all know how it is. We see the pink and white yard sales. Well, listen, if you go to a pink and white yard sale and you see all LOB, you see all Oshkosh Magash, and you see all one size, and they're giving you a bag for $5, you take. Like, I did back then. I'm not doing it now. But I used to do that, and I would sell lots for like $60, $75 for like 10, 15 pieces. Well, how many pieces I can crop into the pitch. And it was all LLB in the same size, or Oshkosh Magash, or all these, fancy. It was like a rich neighborhood. So, like, again, that's where grouping it up, and I was able to get the stuff for, it was like $5 for a trash bag full. I wouldn't do it now, but I did make pretty decent money.
One thing I would add, just with the lotting thing, I've honestly done quite a bit of it lately, and it's because of things I bought. Like I bought a bunch of radio stuff. Like sometimes my philosophy is a little different occasionally. Sometimes I'll be honest, if I buy a bulk load of stuff, a lot of times I'm looking and I'm sorting highest to lowest, and if I don't have anything within a certain range, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to look up anymore. I'm just going to throw it in a lot, put it out there. Recently, I did that with Monster High Dolls. Like, yes, I could have looked up, the 16 I had and spent 2 hours figuring out who is what and where. But I did throw that on a lot in an auction, and I was happy. I think I paid $20 for the lot. I turned it into $120. So, hey, I don't mind doing that. I'll do that every day if I can. And it's like, so there is a thing of time versus money when it comes to doing lots. Like sometimes it makes more sense just to lot up a load of it. And, a lot of times people will tell you if there's something valuable in it, I can bet you, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a message from somebody. Hey, can I buy that separately? And then you can do what you want to with this. You can either sell it to the guy separately, but I'll tell you what I do before I sell it is I look up that individual one because I may have stuck it in the lot not knowing what I had.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to redo my stuff and redo my listing. And I'll sell you that for what I got the lot up for. But, occasionally, it makes sense at some, because I know for me personally, I don't have a problem that's not a problem. I'm going to find way more than I can list in a lifetime, tell you. But so for me, it is a way of moving items. And like you said about hats and about other things, why not? For me, I don't mind passing on a deal to someone. I'll be the middleman. I don't have a problem with doing that. I know we've all sold and whatnot outside of Leroy, but he's coming. He's getting the scenes. He just don't know yet. But we've all sold on that. And in that, I've had auctions where people bought, they're like, yeah, man, I made $100. Great, dude. Fantastic. I'm glad you did. Because, for me, if you're buying it cheap enough and you're putting it up in lots, you're not going to lose.
No.
You're not going to lose. You're going to make money. It's just another way to do it. Leroy has helped me a ton with just that thought process of what's that motto again, Leroy?
Sell it high, let it fly. Sell it low, let it go.
Yeah, I mean, because it is one of those things. End of the day, yes, there are items I hold out for. I'm sitting on an item right and holding out for. I've got a dollar figure in my head that I'm gonna keep it that. I want to sell it for at least that. But there's a lot of stuff, and especially when it comes to bulk, move it, keep it moving because there's more coming. Next week when you go out, there'll be more.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's kind of where I know a lot of us we definitely, because it is time and money. There's only so many hours in the day that we're doing this, and if I could take a lot and list it and it'd take me 10 minutes, or I could take a lot and list it individually and it'd take me all day. So that's kind of where I've moved to in my business. Everybody's model's different though, and that's why we share a lot of different ways that you can do this, because there is a lot of, and none of us have the perfect way. Because we all find different stuff, we all sell different stuff, we all know different stuff. That's why we shoot across the board. Let me see it. I think we got a couple other questions that wanted to get to, and then we'll see what else is on the agenda. Had one pulled up just a second ago. What?
This commercial break is brought to you by Reseller Information Network, now available not just on YouTube, but Spotify as well. Please don't forget to leave us a review. Thank you. And this message, once again, has been brought to you by Reseller Info Network.
And don't forget to check out our Instagram and our Facebook group.
Yeah. Shop the link down below to support the channel. If you want to use the same tools that we use here on RIN, then you can find them down. We do have a question from Lisette, New England Betty Boo. She did put in, hello, Eric, Leroy, Tim, and Cernoch. I have a question for all of you. Congratulations on your 8th. Wow. We've actually been together about 3.5 years doing this show. And we actually started Reseller Information Network after that. But it says, now that you're this far along in the show, can you each share something positive that maybe you weren't expecting when you first started the show? I know, right? A deep.
It's tough. I saw this question and I was like, I know we're gonna have to answer. Let me think about it. And you know what? I definitely forgot to think about it. But it's for me. What makes the question tough is the not expect, because I don't think we really. I mean, obviously, I can only speak for myself. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't think we really expected anything. Like I don't think we kind of were doing this because we saw an opportunity to, be different than what a lot of other people were doing. And we're all similar in the fact that we like to give back to the community that has given much to us. So I think that was a lot of what we wanted. And like for me, the two biggest things that I've come away with, and this is not, once again, to kind of go a little bit off of the question, what I didn't expect. But we've really built a bond between the four, like we're legitimately like brothers now, where it's like, outside of reselling, if because I've had to go through some stuff. Every one of us have had a point where we've had to go kind of something. And, I can reach out to each one of these guys and out completely outside of reselling. And, they'll always give me an ear, you know what I'm saying, or a shoulder, whatever I need to kind of get through. And me, that's probably the biggest takeaway that I've gotten outside of doing this group. I think the other thing would be obviously is the continuance of pushing each other and learning. Like it's almost like we don't really set out to try and teach each other, but we're constantly teach other. And I think I'm so grateful for that, because like every single day, whether it's in our group chat, whether it's on our live show on Tuesdays, or whether it's especially during some of these broadcasts, where like I'm like so like I kind of forget sometimes that I'm part of the show because I'm so tuned in and listening to what one of these guys are saying. So for me, I just think that, and I'll leave on this note, was that when we first started doing the Listening and Loafing show, it was so important for me to know that Tuesday was my day where I was going to dedicate some time getting stuff. And it was like, now we've gotten to the point where like we can literally be working, talking to the people in the chat and talking to each other and still getting the task done that we need to get done as full-time resellers. And I'll tell you, it was funny because I was talking to Leroy about this the other day, about how like, like sometimes when we're in what we do, there's a lot of time that you're by yourself. If you're not doing this with like your life partner or a business partner or your kids, 90% of the stuff that you're doing as a reseller, you're by yourself. So like it's almost for our sanity that I have these guys to do this stuff with on Tuesdays and our group chat, stuff like that. So I know it's not necessarily exactly what you were asking, but I think that that's the best way that I could answer it. I guess I didn't really necessarily expect as much new people to come and thank us for stuff that we've helped them with. I think that's probably the next best rewarding part of this, is when people come into our live, or they leave a comment, or they send me a message on Instagram and they're like, I just want to thank you for helping me. It's like that's like the ultimate like gift right there, is that somebody telling you that you helped, because that's what we're trying to. I know I babbled there for a little bit. I apologize.
I think for me, it's just like, that kind of brought up like the friendships and stuff like that. And just like, like people to bounce ideas off, or to give a quick text to, or phone call or something like that. Because here's the thing, you don't want yes men around. That's the worst thing you can have, especially in a business like this. Like, oh yeah, that should work. That should work. No. You're messing up. Someone would be like, nah. Or like, hey, hey, look at this listing. Yeah, the titles, don't use that title, or don't use that word. So it's constantly bouncing ideas off of each other. And again, we have different segments we really deep dive into where we can kind of use the knowledge from others that we've learned, over the years to buy better. You know what I'm saying? Like, or, if there's something, Leroy, if there's something out there like a shark tooth hat, you ain't gonna pass it up. You're gonna be like, wait, time out. Let me take a picture and send it to someone, because they, they can tell me, so it's just, I think it's what the surprising thing is we've all made each other a better without just being out in the world alone, doing this. So that's what I surprised.
Mine is, it's sort of the same line, probably just different wording than both Chris and Cernoch. It's more like the accountability brotherhood that we have. I count on these guys, like Cernoch said, to keep me in line. Sometimes we'll have group chats and I can't get to them all, they can't get to them all, but we'll try to go back, and then sometimes it's just private messages that go back and forth. We've learned, I think we've learned we can trust each other. I trust these guys. I trust these guys a lot. They stick up for me. I stick up for them. It's not monetarily, money wise, or anything like that. Just a brotherhood. And there's a lot in society. I'm not going to sit here and say, eBay or YouTube, but there's a lot of people you have to watch out for. And we do this for you guys, but we also do this, like Tim said, for ourselves. And we also know that there's, we know our boundaries. It's 3 years. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of shows on YouTube, but anyway, it's 3 years of a brotherhood friendship, and that's why we have fun, and that's why we do what we do for you guys. And some of these tough questions are good, but Lisette, you're in trouble. But that's my end of it.
I actually look back on Obxpicker to see the very first listing show was July 14th. Wow. That's the day that I did the 8-hour listing challenge, and I actually I remember distinctly from Tim. He's like, dude, I need this. Can you do this? And, Cernoch came on board and Leroy came on board. Like that day that I did that listing challenge, all these guys popped in, and so many more people in the community that are still hanging out, that are still part of our extended reselling. I guess for me, like the same thought is, you talk about, all of us are from completely different walks of life. We all come from different places, different parts of the country, different personalities, all that. And, for us to be like now 3 years and change, Tim was a part of the very first live show that I did on YouTube. He was like the first guest that we ever had on, so we have so much history, and it is something that, unexpected, because like Leroy alluded, most people aren't together this, like most people, there'll be some kind of tiff or something come up, and then we're, and I think for me is knowing that for us, we do have thought and concern for each other. I know for me personally, I'm always like, look, I'd rather hear it from you than hear it from somebody else,
Yeah.
So, and I've always told them the same thing. I say, look, if there's a problem, let's talk about it before we put it out to everybody else. And I'll be honest, like we haven't really had much of that. It's like we all seem to be kind of locked in when it comes to, we recognize that there is, situations in the community that sometimes could bring division, but we don't allow it to come in and do that with us.
And whenever we meet up, we stay in the same place.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do, but we never fight rooms. It's, you might be in a sawmill. I mean, if you like being in a sawmill, we have learned. Okay, this guy snores, so he's gonna go at the end. We don't put him in the middle. We put him over here. This guy snores a lot. Or this guy walks to the bathroom a lot. Okay, let's put him in the bathroom. It makes less noise.
Yeah, springboard. No, we do, man. And obviously we appreciate each and every one of you guys that are a part of, whether it be listing and loafing on Tuesdays, or you guys that are watching this or are now listening to us on Spotify. We do appreciate all you guys. And, we don't ever take it for granted that people, it's so nuts to see growth and see more new people in the community coming. I'll be honest, this isn't to pat us on the back at all, but I would put the guys in this room against anybody when it comes to sheer of how to do this and how to, honestly, if we were to have some kind of I can tell you this, if we were to have a sourcing challenge, you out.
Right?
We got you.
We might miss stuff.
Dude, we should do a Bear Grylls style type thing next time we all get together. It's basically like you get an envelope full of money. Like you get an envelope of money, but it only has a certain amount. And then we drive one of each other to a place, all right? And just like don't tell them. It's just like a thrift store or something like that, and or a random garage sale type, and you just drop them off and see what they can do.
No cell phone. No cell phone.
No cell phone either.
Yeah. I guess probably one of the most surprising trying to get on Leroy's level selling tools, even as we sold a couple of tool lots. Little welding lot. So no, it's one of those things. If you'd have told me 3.5 years ago that I would be chasing, even today, I listed some it's only because of hanging out with these guys and finding things that sell. We all do it. We definitely appreciate it. Hey, if you guys have joined us today, definitely check out the links. We are going to be getting a Worthpoint in there, so you can save a little bit. And we've got some news coming. We've got some new things coming out very soon. You won't want to miss this coming Tuesday. We are actually doing mini, so come and be a part of that. Don't want to miss that. Make sure, hey, if you've got some dirty hats sitting around, if you've got some stuff, check our Instagram. We'll put a little, hey, you might need to bring X, Y, and Z next, and then you can do a little clean, a little list, a little shape, a little all that stuff. I know the three of us anyway have stacks. What we're gonna do is we're gonna ask that Leroy takes his Steelers and does the same process. I know the thing might fall apart if you clean it.
No. I got a grinder over there. I can do wonders with it.
Maybe I'll send you a house. Maybe send you a Patriots. Hey, we do thank all you guys for being here as always. For sure, he's leaving, but definitely check it out. Check out the links down below. So go with. I got the screen all jacked around. So Leroy, give us a little.
Guys, thank you very much. I hope everybody had a great week traveling. So press all from me. And, see you guys on Tuesday.
Cernoch.
All right. Alluded to, doing a mini hat camp Tuesday from 9 to 12 on our loafing. What date is that? So since this is coming out on Friday, that's going to be the 20th, right? 20th. We're going to be doing the on Tuesday, our listing and loaf. Hey, look, I'm bringing out the hats. Look, we got the beef hat, we got the Coca-Cola hat. Little dirty, might need to be cleaned up a bit. So yeah. We're gonna post some stuff on Instagram, and again, we're gonna go into a few things, and we're just gonna be cleaning and shaping and all kinds of stuff. So definitely want to see y'all there. And yeah, that's all I got. Oh wait, Instagram and Facebook group. Find us on Instagram and on our Facebook. Got it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode here at the Reseller Network. We want to thank each and every one of you guys for not just watching or listening if you are listening on Spotify, but for being a part of our family, a part of the Reseller Information Network family. Please continue to drop all those questions and comments, as it does help us and guides us and gives us ideas to provide you all with the content that you need to succeed, to be a better reseller in this world of resale. Thank you guys, as always. Enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, and make sure you guys are checking us out on YouTube, on Spotify, Instagram, and Facebook. And don't forget to bring those hats and your buckets. And it's going to be a fun day on Tuesday. As always, don't forget to tell a friend about RIN Reese Information Network.